What up, everybody? This is your Cosmic Homegirl, and I'm doing a horoscope, a forecast of the cosmic weather for all of us for the week starting June 7th of 2020 and ending on June 14th of 2020. I hope everybody is safe out there. Hope everybody is healthy out there. There's so much madness in the whole entire world right now. And so I hope everybody is good out there. So, first, before I get to the forecast, this is, oh my gosh, this the 6th month of the year. We're already like almost halfway through the year, and 2020, oh my gosh, it's just been insane, hasn't it? One reason why is because of, Pluto, Jupiter, and Capricorn. Saturn has been back and forth between it's back and forth between Cap and Aquarius this year. So astrologers already knew ahead of time that 2020 was going to be wild in some sort of way. A lot of old ways of the world were going to be broken down, challenged, questioned, things that have to do with authority, with government, and just Capricorn deals with the old, the tried and true, that it's always been this way. Things that have been implemented and put into place by elderly people, or just the authorities in charge, the powers that be is Capricorn. So with this powerful lineup here, and then we're finishing off the eclipses that have been in the sign of Capricorn for the last 2 years. Yeah, a lot of old ways of things are being broken down, and some new is being established. That's the Saturn and Aquarius, the new normal. Saturn rules the same things Capricorn rules: the government, it's always been this way, it's always been done this way. And Aquarius challenges that. Aquarius is like, no, what's the future like? Things need to be shifted around, and we need to be all inclusive, and all that stuff is Aquarius. So especially with Saturn retro right now, retrograde is like going back over things. And during retrograde periods, things can go a little haywire. Like things that are normally proceeding forward the way they always have been, when there's a planet that's retrograde, all that stuff is being questioned and looked at from a different perspective, and everybody's like, "Now wait a second, now," in my Cat Williams voice, scratching their heads, like, "Hold on a second here, hold up, wait a minute, no, we see a different perspective on things. We see things should be done differently." So, and the Aquarius rules once again, gathering of the masses and all that. And remember when Saturn was moving forward in Aquarius, there were huge restrictions on gatherings of masses of people. And now with it retro, people are rebelling against that and gathering anyway, and rebelling against Saturn-themed things, which once again, that's rules and structures that are really old and outdated, and the people that are in charge of all of that stuff. So that's just a little short take that I have on what's going on in the world. The astrological math definitely adds up. Astrologers are not able to just predict every single thing in detail, as far as what's going to happen in the future. There's still the free will of earthlings, you know what I'm saying, to control what goes on. But we can kind of see, like the blueprint or the outline. We all just knew that 2020 was going to be crazy, okay? Let me just say that. Now, also, before I get to this weekly horoscope, don't forget I do have a video on the whole month of June here on YouTube, and I'll put the little link for it up in the little I button in the corner. If you want to look ahead at the rest of June, not just this week, I have that. And if you want to know how June is going for your sign, we are in eclipse season. We're actually in the middle of eclipses right now, okay? If you want to know how the eclipses affect you, Venus retro is still in full effect. Mercury retro this whole month, it's in shadow and then retro. I do have horoscopes videos available on my horoscopes page on my website, indigomoon.astrology.com/horoscopes. So just click on the horoscopes tab. It'll take you right here, homie. Okay, right here. So, I also have 2020, the 2020 forecast for each sign are discounted. I slashed them in half because, A, we've already been halfway through the year and it's been crazy, right? So, what does the rest of the year look like for you as far as your sign? Your rising sign, the most accurate. Your sun sign is still like super hella accurate. Moon sign, you could check that out too. But I have all of those on my website as well, on the same page. So I do cover all the retrogrades of all the planets, all the eclipses, all of that stuff, and the important transits of like Venus and Mars, through your sign if it happens in your sign this year. We have a big fat Mars retrograde in Aries this year that's going to be starting in the next couple of months and lasting like 6 months. So anyway, if you want to know how all that's going for you too, I have those 2020 horoscopes. So it's pretty much, the 2020 horoscopes, I have them discounted too. Okay. All right. Now let's get to the weekly horoscope. And if anybody wants to timestamp it and be a little smarty pants, then go ahead. I don't care. Okay. Now, so starting with June 7th, I'm actually recording this on the 8th because I was unavailable to do this on the 7th. So let's just kind of skip ahead a little bit and let's talk about, we still have, let's just talk about some general stuff first. Okay, so we do have the Sun and Mars squaring each other still. This is still very intense and very prominent at the beginning of this week. Okay, so as you see here, as of the 7th, the Sun and Mars in the same sign. At the same degree, 17 degrees of Pisces and Gemini. Those are mutable signs. The mutable signs, they angle each other in angry ways, on the zodiac wheel. So that can cause friction, tension, disagreements, discomfort. It's like it can make you antsy to where you just feel like you got to jump out and do something and go raw, especially when Mars is involved. And also the Sun. The Sun is a very masculine energy too. And that doesn't mean male with the male body parts, down below necessarily. Masculine energy is all about being a go-getter, just taking action, taking charge, right? Initiating things. Power. I've got the power is all masculine energy. So the Sun is definitely a force of that, a source of that. And Mars is a source of that too. So those two planets, masculine energies, are squaring off. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of tension still in the air. It's apparent in the news if you watch the news or if you flip through headlines, that pop up on your social media feeds or whatever. I'm sure some kind of way a little bit about things that are going on in the world to cause a lot of tension, a lot of friction between people, power struggles between people. So yeah, the Sun and Mars squaring each other definitely plays a part in that. So it's still popping. It was popping last week too. We still have Venus. Well, the Venus and Neptune square is like separated now. For now, it's separated. It's going to be separated for like maybe the next couple of weeks because Venus is now, lowering in degree because it's retrograde, so it's going backwards. So as of the day that I'm recording this, it's actually down to 10 degrees of Gemini and Neptune is 20 degrees of Pisces. So that square is dissipating by degree. I use 8 degrees of separation generally, but you could kind of feel things out and see if even if it's like further away from that, if it's still felt. I think Venus square Neptune, Venus rules love and money basically, and Venusian things, Venus ruled things like art and being in tune with your five senses and enjoying yourself, just kind of being receptive, not charging out there, Venus is the opposite of that. It's cool, it's calm, it's chill. Just chilling, enjoying yourself. That's Venus. So when she squares Neptune, that's some trouble there with maybe you're enjoying yourself. It's hard to control escapist tendencies when it comes to enjoyment when Venus is square Neptune. There could be losses or confusion revolving around money, financial things, material things, and also with love. There's confusion. There's a lack of boundaries between yourself and others, or between others and your you or others and your material things or your money too. Okay. So that's kind of fading off this week. It's not going to be as strong as it was before. So that's good. Now let's talk about the moon phases. Well, yeah, and see, the sun and Mars are still squaring each other. They're only 1 degree away from each other. I think even as the day progresses, Mars is going to get to 18 degrees of Pisces. The sun is still hanging out at 18 degrees of Gemini. So yeah, sun square Mars is still very strong the beginning of the week. Okay. So now the moon was in Capricorn for most of the weekend, so people could have been a little bit more responsible with their money, maybe more in tune with their responsibilities. A lot of cities across the U.S., I know for a fact, had curfews. So this past weekend, having a curfew on the weekend, and there's a lot of businesses that have opened back up, of course, with some regulations in place, but still, there's been bars and restaurants and different places, social places, and of business opening back up again, right? But then we had this curfew put into place because of because of other things going on in the world, like the looting, the rioting, the protesting. People wanted to regulate things because of that, so they put the curfews in place. And so yeah, that was definitely apparent over the weekend with the moon in Cap. Moon in Cap says, sit your ass down and behave yourself, do your chores, and be responsible. There's no fun allowed. Capricorn is like the fun police, the fun snatchers. This Capricorn. So people probably had more of that attitude over the weekend, or maybe forced to. But now on June 8th, the moon moves into Aquarius. So the moon moves into Aquarius. It joins Saturn in Aquarius. So yeah, there's still a serious vibe there. Moon and Saturn in Aquarius are definitely all about unity, human rights being honored, and collectively everyone gathering together and being on the same page. That's all Aquarius tings. So that attitude is still going to continue even stronger throughout the next few days that the moon is in Aquarius. When the moon is with Saturn, it could be really about people speaking upon those things with more, like, I don't want to say force, not necessarily force, but more seriousness. Like, this is something we need to do as a collective, we have no choice, stuff like that. So, and people can be cracking down on even more when the moon is in Aquarius, excuse me, on anyone who's like going against that or violating it. Things can go viral when the moon is in Aquarius, because Aquarius rules the airwaves meaning the internet waves, satellite waves, so watching things on your phone, on satellite through TV, the airwaves meaning the radio or podcasts, that's all what Aquarius rules. So a lot more things may start popping up, about what's going on in the collective when the moon is in Aquarius, or, people just be talking about it a lot more than usual. It's really talked about a lot right now, but, people's, the mood and the attitude and where our emotions are, where our emotions are being dispersed, and how they're being dispersed is the moon. So it's in Aquarius. Excuse me. Hopefully this week will be more peaceful. Because sometimes Aquarius energy, especially moon in Aquarius, it can be kind of kumbaya, like, hey, let's all gather together and under one common belief, on one common ground, some sort of way, and respect each other's differences. We're all different, but we're all still human beings. Moon in Aquarius can bring more of that attitude, so hopefully it does. So the moon is in Aquarius from the 8th until the 11th. So actually, you guys, there's not really too much pop in this week. I'm going to be honest. It's mostly going to be about the moon phases and the aspects that they're making, because there's not really any like planetary ingresses into new signs this week or anything like that. But yeah, so we have the moon in Aqua still, the 9th. We have the moon in Aquarius, the 10th, and then the 11th. I think, and don't forget, I'm on like West Coast of the US time. Yeah, so it's like in the wee hours of the night of the 11th, the moon switches, or the morning, the moon switches into Pisces, okay? Moon in Pisces on the 11th. Yo, listen, we have Mars. Mars has been inching towards Neptune. The sun has been inching towards a square to Neptune, okay? So I'm going to talk about that too. So we've got like already this heavy Neptunian vibe going on, like all this Neptunian energy. So it looks like right as the moon is switching into Pisces on the 11th, the sun is squaring Neptune exactly. So what does all this mean? Well, Pisces energy and Neptune is the ruling planet of Pisces, and it gives Pisces its characteristics. And Neptune is in the sign of Pisces right now. It's a slower moving planet, so it transits through a sign like for like roughly around 14 years or so. Like over a decade, Neptune will stay in a sign. So anyway, Neptune is in Pisces, floating in its home zone, beaming out all this like its natural energy, even stronger than usual. So the sun, when it squares Neptune, that's a challenge from the sun to Neptune. So the sun is about clarity, right? I mean, obviously, we look up there in the sky and what do we see? We see the sun. In the daytime, we can see more clearly. Why? Because the sun is out. So the sun literally rules clarity with your physical vision, but also clarity meaning like more in a different sense, like a symbolic sense, you know what I'm saying? Like it symbolizes clarity, like clarity, having a clear view of things mentally, and maybe emotionally knowing. The sun doesn't rule emotions, but still like how you feel about things and what you think about things and what you see, what you perceive, being clear. The sun can represent that. It can symbolize that. And then when it makes a challenging aspect to Neptune, that's like the fog machine. I always say Neptune's like a fog machine. So it is like the sun is stepping to the fog. That makes me think, let me see. Snoop has creeping through the fog and something. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm having a Neptunian brain moment of going off into some music lyrics too. And I forgot them. Oh my gosh, how can I forget Snoop lyrics? Like I grew up on all that shit. But yeah, creeping through yo, okay. Just forget I even tried, all right? Because I just don't have it together right now. But anyway, I know Snoop he quotes that, something about like creeping through the fog or the smog. It's Snoop Doggy Dogg, something like that. Anyway, so the sun square Neptune, it is like there's a fog with our sense of clarity on things. So we can question a lot of things. We can question reality. If we're not like succumbing to Neptune's forces of just making us like la-di-da-di-da, just looking out into freaking space and spacing out everything and spacing out details. If we're not like giving into that, we are catching ourselves like do then say, no, wait a second now. Hold up. Is this real or am I tripping? Is this real or am I just idealizing something? Am I dreaming? Am I like, what's going on here? So we can question ourselves a lot, or you can just slip off into la la land like super easy. Sun square Neptune. Let me tell you something about Neptune transits, okay? Neptune aspects, even when it's the quote unquote negative ones. And as you can see, you see the angle here between the sun and Neptune. They have that in red, meaning like red alert, red flag, negative, right? But even these can open the Neptune. It rules the spirit realm. It dissolves the boundary between the physical realm and the spiritual realm. It thins the veil between the physical world and the spiritual world. So for some people, they can really have moments to where they're more in tune with their psychic abilities, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? Like their intuitive abilities are sharper. Some people who are not as in tune with that, it's like they'll have moments of that and then they'll try to shut it down. Or some people will just be like, I don't know, thinking that they know things and they don't, and they're really like just tripping. It can affect people in different ways, but for some people who are really in tune with their abilities, okay, Sun square Neptune can still be a transit to where the veil is very thin between the physical realm and the spirit realm, and your abilities are heightened. Heightened. Oh my God, I cannot speak today. Heightened. Your abilities are heightened, okay? They are, and the power of them is increased, okay? So anyway, yeah, your abilities, there's an increase in them. So pretty much you be knowing some shit, okay? Like, let me just put it plain and simple like that. You may question reality, but there's some things where they can really be like messages that come through and are made clear to you by the spirit realm, by your ancestors, your guides, your whomever. If you believe in the other side and others looking out for you and, you know, sending you messages or whatever, if you're very in tune with that, there can be some stuff that is real, okay? So yeah, the Sun square Neptune is very strong on June 11th. And then we have the Moon moving into Pisces, as I mentioned earlier. Pisces stepping into the realm, you know, of all this Neptunian energy, all this, you know, intuitive, quote unquote, psychic energy that is very strong on the 11th. So that would be a day to where I would definitely pay attention to my dreams. If I were you guys, pay attention to your dreams. Speaking of that, has anybody else's dreams been like crazy off the chain since Mars has been creeping up on Neptune and the sun has been creeping up on Neptune? Like, the veil is thin, right? So, and Neptune rules dreams, Pisces rules dreams. So since these energies are being heavily activated, I've found that my dreams have been so weird, and I can't figure out whether or not like some of them really have a message or if it's just like some weirdo stuff that just is going on up there. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, if anybody else's dreams have already been weird and off the chain, let me know. But closer to the mid to late week, definitely everyone, it doesn't matter what sign you are or whatever, you know, where Pisces is in your chart, everyone's affected. So let me know, like, are your dreams off the chain or what? So the moon will be in Pisces starting on the 11th. And we've got Mars creeping up on Neptune, creeping through the fog up on Neptune, right? Literally. Stepping up to Neptune like, what's up, foo? I'm here. What are we going to do? So, and Mars is action, you know? So it's like, yo, I'm about that action, Neptune. Like, what are we going to do? What magic are we going to perform? Are we going to be deceiving on ninjas out here? We're going to be, you know, scheming on them? What are we going to do? Because, Neptune and Pisces can, on the darker side of it, equal deception and literally like creeping up on people and trying to persuade them into things using the power of manipulation, emotional manipulation to persuade, you know what I'm saying? So that can be going on this week, you guys. And with the sun square Neptune, and the sun is in Gemini, and Gemini is another mutable sign where the darker side of it is very trickster, you know, but let's trick people, let's trick their minds, play mind games with them. Stuff like that. Use the power of our words to, like, you know, twist things up and make them think that they're tripping, they're crazy, when really like we're just making them feel that way, think that, so that we can like scheme on them, you know. So anyway, just be careful of that. I'm not saying don't trust anybody this week, but listen, question everyone, okay? If you have an inkling of any type of feeling that somebody is just BSing you this week, you know, look into it, okay? So don't believe everything this week, but trust in your intuitive abilities. If you are very in tune with that stuff, trust in those. But other people, if they're just, it sounds like they're spitting some bullshit, they're just trying to, you know, trying to scheme on somebody, then investigate, okay? Now, so the moon is in Pisces on the 11th, joining all this Neptunian mess, honey child. Okay, so we have the moon in Pisces also on the 12th and on the 13th. But on the 12th, the moon is in Pisces and it joins Mars. I think it's on the 12th. Yeah, it's creeping. Ooh, look at that on the 12th. Mars is really creeping up on Neptune and the moon also. Okay, so we have this lineup here. The evening of the 12th. Now, if you are in an eastern part of the world, from the west coast of the US, then this can count as early in the morning on the 13th of June. We have the moon, Mars, and Neptune all together in Pisces at the same degree, at 20 degrees. So what can that possibly mean? Well, definitely trust your intuition. If you really feel something, trust in it. And a lot of people are going to be like just jumping because we have the moon, which is emotions. We have Mars, which is action. And we have Neptune, which is dreams and fantasy. So a lot of people will just be going after maybe something that they have big dreams about, or if they really feel that people could feel super emotionally charged about something that they truly believe in with their whole heart and just acting upon what they feel. Okay. For some people, they can just get caught up in more of the Neptune side of it and let Neptune speak first, which can be confusion. You don't really know all the facts. You don't really know what's going on. But then you let this combination right here, this equals boiling water, because Mars is fire. The moon is like water, emotions. So this is like emotions boiling up to the surface and going, but, so I would say to be careful, be aware of this energy, and pay attention to how you feel and how you're acting and reacting and how others are too, especially around this time on June 12th, okay? Because it can go one way or the other. It can be like you don't really know what the f is going on, but you're just jumping based on how you feel. Or it can be like, okay, I feel and sense things so strongly, and I know and I believe, and I'm going to act upon that because I'm so sure, because my intuition is telling me I'm right too. So it can go either way. But yeah, I am just very curious to see what's gonna happen with this lineup. Ooh, I'm probably gonna be hiding under my covers, you guys, because I'm a Pisces moon and this is like not too far away from my moon. So I'm like, yo, I don't want to be popping off at people if it's irrational, like if the reason why is not justifiable, if it's just I just feel this way, nah. I don't want to be in my feels. Oh my gosh, I'll try to go to sleep early that night or something because but then the feels will haunt me in my dreams though. Watch. But anyway, you guys, yeah, so this is a very powerful combination. It could mean, I guess in a more collective sense, it can mean like maybe some emotionally charged voicing out or acting out. Okay, but it's Pisces, so Pisces is very hippie and spiritual and calm, but it is super emotional, and it can be emotions that are like based only on what's going on inside your head and not what's really going on outside of you in reality in the rest of the world. So you need to be aware of that effect on others, but it can so it can go either way too. Collectively, it can mean like peaceful, hippie, kumbaya, let's hold hands and cry and pray for world peace. Or it could be like, no, I see things this way and you're wrong, like, whoa, it can go either way. Okay, but awareness is key now, and this is all still squaring the sun, which is power, powers that be. So this could be like people really feeling emotional about things. And Pisces energy is the lover, just the eternal lover, the lover of all living beings. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's a freaking plant. You know what I'm saying? Pisces is like, oh no, please don't kill the plant. Oh my God. And they'll cry and have a funeral for the freaking plant. Like, Pisces is like that about every living being. So Pisces energy wants everybody together, everybody to love each other. Love the freaking ant that's marching along on the street. Don't step on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just about humans, but when it comes to humans and humanity, Pisces just knows no boundaries. Just it's boundless, endless love, unconditional love. There you go. It's Pisces. So a lot of people can be feeling that very intensely on June 12th, and then battling it out, which is a square against anybody who is like, Gemini energy is not emotional at all. And if you say, well, I had no so-and-so and they're a Gemini and they cry all the time, I don't give a shit, because that's not their Gemini side that's like that, okay? Gemini energy in itself is not emotional. It is about logic and rationality, using the mind, detaching from emotions to solely only use the mind and communication. Okay, that's it. That's all Gemini is about in itself. So anyone who is just like la 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 blah blah blah, very surface level about things, all this Pisces energy can make people like, you don't have any feelings, you don't feel any empathy for people who are suffering or whatever. Anyone who is that, people who feel like that can be very, like I said, emotionally charged against people who are more surface level and, well, no, because like just firing off whatever BS, So that's how things can go on the 12th, possibly. Oof, man, that combo, like, is crazy right there. Okay, so then on the 13th, this is when we have Mars in exact conjunction with Neptune. Now, on the 12th, it's very close. But remember, I look at 20 degrees, but I also look at the minutes of arc. Okay, we got to be nerds here on this channel. Be nerds with me, you guys, okay? Nerd out with me, y'all. Let's nerd out. So look, excuse me. We have on the 13th, Mars. Yeah, okay. So it looks like in the morning of the 13th, where I'm at, could be the afternoon elsewhere, that is when Mars and Neptune are in an exact conjunction with one another. And the moon is here too, still hanging out in Pisces. It's 6 degrees away, but so what? It's still Pisces energy, like in full mother effect, okay? So Mars and Neptune, what can Mars and Neptune in a conjunction with each other do? Well, pretty much Mars is action and movement, like physically moving around. And Neptune is like spacing out and not paying full attention to detail and just being in la la land. It's fantasy. Neptune is also art and spirituality and stuff like that too, like dancing and very like beautiful movements are ruled by Neptune. Any art that has beautiful movements. And then Mars is physical movement. So you combine those two together. And hey, if you are someone who's a martial artist, who's a dancer, who does capoeira, who does yoga or something where you do beautiful movements with your physical self, this could be a really good day. And then, a couple days prior to that and a couple days after too. Can be this whole week, actually could be really good for you guys who participate in any of those things. For regular schmegular folk, this is definitely you need to pay attention when you're driving, when you're walking, if you drive a freaking scooter, like I don't care what you do. If you are moving physically about, you need to pay attention, because you may not be as sharp with your movements with practical everyday day-to-day movements. Okay, you may not be as sharp. You may go off a little bit, off of the freaking off the lanes a little bit, if you're driving something. If you're walking, you may like trip on stuff and run into things because you're just like la, because Mars, it can rule like our sense of direction, because see, it has an arrow for a reason, right? The symbol does. So it can rule our sense of direction. So then when it's in a combination with the fog machine, hello, like what does that math add up to? Our sense of direction could be a bit foggy. So be careful driving, walking, however you move around. And also be aware of others around you, extra aware of others around you, because even if you're still sharp with it, other people may not be. Okay, so you need to focus, like, look and make sure you're fully alert and aware of other people's weird movements. If you're driving and you see the headlights ahead of you or moving back and forth, like swerving and stuff, you need to really like, whoa, okay, that means I need to get the fuck out of the way. You need to be aware of that. So Mars and Neptune can definitely cause that. But also, yes, beautiful movements, actions that are more towards love and peace and all the hippie stuff rather than fight, like, you want to scrap and throw down and really hurt somebody. You know what I'm saying? Although there is still that going on in the world while Mars is in Pisces in general. But Mars and Neptune dissolves what it touches. Mars wants to go raw and fight, right? So Neptune and Mars together that close, it can mean maybe more peaceful, more peace, because people's Mars anger is dissolved by the Pisces unconditional love and no, hold on, wait, we should love all the creatures of the universe, so it can equate to that. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see what that day brings, right? But yes, your sense of direction, even if you're just at home, quarantine, chilling, like you can trip on stuff, so just be careful with that. Okay, so on the 13th, this is when the moon moves into Aries later in the day. The moon moves into Aries and there's more raw in the mix, right? Mars is moving past Neptune. It's still in a conjunction, but now the moon's in Aries. So the moon will be in Aries pretty much like the whole weekend. So then that's when things may heat back up again as far as our mood, our attitude, our emotions, how we're expressing our emotions. People may be more in the mood to fight over the weekend. Okay, just letting you know that Aries moon is about that life. Aries moon has time all the time to throw down, to scrap. Okay, so the moon in Aries, it does give more, like my dad used to say, put more pep in your step. Oh my God. Older people and their sayings. I wonder what my kids are going to make fun of me about my little sayings being, I don't know. I tend to be weird and quote comedians and stuff a lot. I don't really have a lot of my own. So they'll probably just clown on me about that. But my dad used to say, put a little pep in your step, okay? Meaning like give you more energy to just get up and go and get shit done, pretty much. So that's what the moon in Aries will do as far as like our mood, Yeah, people have major attitude. People be driving their cars extra fast and loud and being angry, road rage. Yeah, that's every month when the moon's in Aries. It's like heightened. But the moon in Aries, yeah, people may just want to get up and take action towards things a lot more than usual. The moon is in Aries the 13th, and I'm only covering through the 14th, so the moon is in Aries on the 14th as well. Now, the moon does encounter Chiron. Chiron is the little key here, right? And it is the asteroid that's nicknamed the Wounded Healer because it's like a soft spot. I always say it's like a bruise, like Chiron is where you've been hit repeatedly in your life. Not necessarily physically, but like say like, you've been hurt. It's something you're sensitive about something. Say, for example, like you always got clowned on about your appearance, right? And Chiron and Aries can roll that in general too. So you always get clowned on about your appearance. And even though you've worked on yourself as you've gotten older, you're no longer the ugly duckling. You transformed yourself. You got some style. You got some swag. You work out. You whatever, right? You learn how to put on a little makeup or whatever. Or, you're a gym rat now and you've got this like dope ass body or whatever, right? But you still have that soft spot within you that if somebody were to still clown on your appearance, you may be able to handle it a little bit better on the surface, but on the inside, you're still bruised, right? Like emotionally, you're still bruised. So you're still going to feel that. So that's what Chiron is. And then when the moon comes in contact with that every month, it does. The moon is emotion. So the moon in contact with like a wound or a bruise that you have emotionally, a lot of people do when the moon, makes this transit, they get sensitive about stuff. They start thinking about the past, like, or even the recent past, or currently if they've been victimized in any type of way, if you've been mistreated in any type of way. So people will be very sensitive about that even more on the 14th. Now, Aries deals with like the self, the identity, right? So just generally speaking, anything that has to do with the self, the identity, people can be extra sensitive about. That's already on high as it is. I think Chiron and Aries in general as a transit is definitely bringing that on. But like I said, it's called the wounded healer. So there's opportunities also for healing things that have to do with that. So it's not just about, what I'm saying, being in your feelings and crying about stuff like that. There's thinking about like, how can you change that? How can you heal that too? How can you get over it, But yeah, that's where the moon in Aries gets a little touchy. But yep, once the day progresses, it moves away from Chiron, we get over it. And then maybe it brought up something to where we were in our feelings. And then we think about how people wronged us. And then as the day progresses, we want to fight, we want to go after those people. We want to message them and be like, yo, listen, blah, 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 la, 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 you hurt me, blah, blah, blah. So what's up? What you gotta say about it? You gonna apologize? We gonna work this out? Or you ready to get a punch in the face? I mean, like, what's good? So yeah, that's what the moon in Aries can do. And the moon will be in Aries, the rest of the day of the 14th. What else do we have cracking? I mean, nothing else, you guys, except Mercury is getting ready to turn retrograde. Mercury fully goes retrograde on the 17th. So once it gets to this 14th degree, this is another little nerd fact I want to tell you guys to pay attention to before I sign off. Okay, so listen, when Mercury gets to the 14th degree, which it will, the 13th, looks like. Yeah. Okay, so June 13th. Okay, so Mercury gets up to this 14th degree, right? And it's going to hover there, and then it's going to go retrograde on June 17th at 14 degrees. So if we take a look at the ephemeris for the month, where's Mercury at? Okay, so Mercury gets up to 14 degrees, hovers here, meaning it's slowing down, it's stationing, getting ready to go retrograde. It's in its shadow period. This is when the shadow period is really in full effect. So anything that Mercury rules, and that means like communication of any kind, okay? Texting, typing, emails, mail, all of that. Driving, any of that, okay? Things can go haywire. The operation of small devices, especially communication devices like your phones, your tablets, your watches, whatever, but also especially if you work like in the regular practical world and you deal with like emails, you deal with fax machines, faxes, all that stuff. Yes, that can go, haywire. The machines, the devices themselves can too. Okay. So Mercury is at this 14th degree, and this is a sneak preview into next week, right? Because I'm only covering through the 14th in this one, but from the 14th on, like the whole next week, Mercury is going to be at the 14th degree. So whatever's going on, that's Mercury related, of course, like I said, things can be a little shaky, can go a little backwards, but pay attention though, wherever Cancer is in your chart. Okay. So, I'm not going to go through all the signs. That'll take freaking forever, but if you know your chart, you know what house Cancer is in, what house cusp Cancer is on. Make sure you pay attention to that area of your life, because this 14th degree, whatever's going on right now, is going to be repeated or taken. It's going to have you look at it from different perspectives 3 different times. So it's direct at this 14th degree right now. Then it's going to go retrograde at this 14th degree. And then once it moves forward again later on, so it looks like at the end of July, it's going to revisit that 14th degree. So whatever is cracking right now in the sign of Cancer, in the house the Cancer rules for you in your chart, it can come up again later and like, oh, okay, now I see, oh, that makes sense. Or, oh, okay, well, it was that way then, I saw it this way then, now I see it this way, whatever. So it can be having to be dealt with a few different times. So yeah, this 14th degree is like important, you guys, for real. And also keep in mind that we are in between eclipses right now. We just had an eclipse in Sagittarius on the 5th, and then we have an eclipse on on the 5th, and then the 20th or 21st, depending upon your place in the world. We have an eclipse in Cancer too. So the time between eclipses, you guys, I'm telling you, it is like a portal is open. Okay, that's also why I'm saying, like, pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to like feelings that you have about stuff. Question things, yes, and question other people, yes, but really tap into your own intuitive abilities, because they could be really telling you something really be on point about things extra right now. I always find the time in between eclipses also is a crazy manifestation time too. Manifesting good and bad. So watch your thoughts. Watch your thoughts. Not, thoughts that are twerking out there. Not that kind of thought. Okay. I mean like your real thoughts that spelled, the proper English way with a U in there and a G and an H. Those kind of thoughts. Pay attention to them and watch what you think about. Because let me tell you, this is not just stuff, you guys know, I'm not like some weird just floating guru that claims to know everything and everyone should listen to me and follow everything I say. No, I'm not like that. I come to you guys from a real life, real person perspective. And I try to only speak on things, even with astrology, that I've had firsthand experience with and felt it to know that it's real. Or I've witnessed it from someone right next to me and know that it's real. So I'm telling you guys, there have been times where, especially we have Mercury starting to move backwards, retrograde. That's your thoughts, right? And it's in a water sign, intuitive water sign, which is Cancer. And Cancer is the next sign that the next eclipse is going to be in. And then we have all this stuff, this Neptune energy in the air that I already talked about. Your thoughts, which you envision, like you may have the power for those things to really happen as you have thought about them or envision them to be. If you think about people, they may just pop up like, yo, what's good? And Venus is still retrograde too. So that can mean people that you had some sort of loving relationship with, or just, you enjoy yourself with those people. Okay. Friends, or even like love relationships. Should I say this? It's kind of like people could be summoning you in a way, or you could be summoning them. Like seriously, like if you think about them a lot, or you know what I'm saying? Like things that you think about, watch your thoughts, because they can really manifest at this time between eclipses. Is very powerful. Like I said, the veil is thin, the portal is open, all this shit right here is adding to it, so that's just a couple words of advice. This is a very powerful week. I know a lot of astrology and tarot readings out there may say that about every week. It's a powerful week, powerful shifts are happening. Yes, they are all the time, but listen, I'm gonna make a big deal about when it really truly is. And this week is very powerful. Like I said, there's nothing really popping except for the moon transits as far as like anything new. But this week for sure, if you want something to happen for yourself, this is a time to like do whatever you believe in that can help to manifest that to happen. Take action. If you have spiritual practices to manifest things, this is like a dope week for that, especially the days when the moon is in Pisces. Those are extra days for that. So anyways, you guys, I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm starting to lose my voice anyways. But thank you so much for listening. I really hope you guys have a good week. Stay safe and healthy out there. Don't allow yourself to be manipulated or swindled. And if you have those tendencies within yourself, be honest with yourself and don't even try it with other people either. Okay. It's just not cool. Don't forget, I have the horoscopes on my website for June and also for 2020 as a whole. They are slashed in half. Over an hour of like what's going on for your sign in 2020, all the important transits, and then the monthlies I usually talk for at least 30 minutes or so, what's going on this month. for your sign. So thank you guys again, and I will see you next week in my next video. Peace.